Hi everybody, my name is Max Maker and this week I'm going to build some really simple tool holders. This is just a piece of wood with some holes in it. It's really easy to do, you don't need fancy tools to do it, but I'm going to use my CNC since I have one. So this is doing all the work for me, I don't have to do anything myself. At least that's what some people say in the comments. But the good thing about the CNC is that it does the spacing of the holes really nicely, and later on my screwdrivers will be spaced properly. So I'm taking, I think, 3mm depth of cut here, and I'm running this at 1000 millimeters per minute. This is just for some of you folks that have a CNC, they might be interested in these numbers. And while I was at it, I also built this file holder. And this is just 3 parts of plywood, 18mm in thickness. And you can download these files if you follow the link in the description. You just cut them out, either with your jigsaw and some chisels or with your CNC. You could even 3D print this if you really wanted to. And then you have a nice file holder that you can put at the wall. I used some leftover plywood for this, and this is how the CNC left it. The edges are okay, but they're not perfect. So next up I'm going to use my router to give everything a nice chamfer. Some of the pieces have lifted up and I have to screw them down into the baseboard to make them flush with the surface again. This is how I hold down most of my pieces. It's just a screw going through the workpiece and then into the baseboard. That's super easy, fast, convenient, and I can add some screws while I'm cutting. I can do this really quickly. I don't have to stop the machine or anything like that. So they're very versatile, and they're also flush with the surface, which is great to avoid collisions with the cutting bit. Obviously the cutting bit shouldn't be in the path of the screw. So then I sanded everything just slightly and it was time for assembly, and these just slot together. And if you've got different thicknesses of wood, if your wood is a little bit different, you just change the CAD files or you just improvise. Yeah, I added some wood glue, assembled everything, that was easy. Put some screws down and then I screwed everything together to make sure it really holds. That wouldn't be necessary, the screws are optional I think, but it's a little bit of an insurance. Nailed it. Next up was paint, and I had this blue paint left over from my shelf build that I made a video about. Here's a link for it and also in the description. So yeah, I didn't know how to paint this, so I just made the edges blue, and then I could put some painter's tape over them and then spray paint the rest black. Over the years I found that spray cans are much easier than actual paint to paint stuff with, because they're just so easy to apply. You don't need a brush, you don't need to clean the brush afterwards, and storage is also easier, and they're quite cheap. I pay €3 for a can I think. I buy them in bulk, I buy 6 cans at once. So they're cheap enough, it's the cheapest stuff I can get on Amazon, and it makes it black, it's good enough for the workshop. So it's time to hang them up on the wall. I could just put them into these T-tracks that I have underneath my tool wall, but you would just have to drill them into wood or into concrete with some dowels. Depends on your workshop. And there you go, now you can organize all your screwdrivers and you had a little bit of fun in the workshop. I think this looks really nice and it's also handy. And it shows you that you don't need to make something fancy if you have fancy tools like a CNC. So this is the file holder, and I just put them in the wall with some dowels and I could put all my files. And this is really useful, you know. It's simple, but it's very useful, because if your shop is not organized, you can't work fast. And if you can't work fast, you can't make a lot of stuff. At least that's what I found for my workflow. Yeah, thanks for watching guys. My name is Max Maker and I make all kinds of stuff. Even simple stuff. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and also tell your friends about it.